A lot of rain today and in the forecast for the next few days, so it's really made me appreciate some of the flying days I've had recently. Unlike my first flight with the Easiness 4 harness that I just received, today should be a great day to fly. So my goal for today is to actually fly 2 wings and 2 harnesses that I have. First up, I'm using the Easiness 4 harness and flying the Epsilon DLS wing, which is the lighter version in the Epsilon series. And right off the bat, I'm going to reiterate how easy it is to get into this harness. My very first harness I had when learning here at Torrey for my P3, it was notoriously difficult to get into that harness, and I had to use a foot strap. After my last video, somebody asked me whether they thought this harness offered great back protection. And again, it is an air scoop inflatable protector. There is no permanent compressible protector like there is in my Boundless and a lot of other harnesses. And it is very minimal as far as any upper back or side protection. So you don't want to start out with this harness. When you're just learning, go with a good, well-protected harness, something you can discuss with your trainer, something that offers good back, lower, butt, and side protection, because you're going to need it. When you get very comfortable and you have a lot of hours under your belt, then go for a more minimal harness. Again, this Easiness 4 is great for hike and fly, but definitely not a beginner harness. Unfortunately, my foot camera mic doesn't come in very well, so you really can't hear what I'm saying. But this harness does not have a seat board. It does have 2 leg supports, very comfortable, very padded. When I want to do a weight shift, I simply really push down on one of those leg supports. There's a minimal amount of travel, but enough to get me around and initiate the turn. Here I'm just going through some turns. Again, I just kind of push down on that one leg support, starts the turn, then I continue going through and then just doing this back and forth just to get a feel for it. Rather than kind of using my core, again, I'm just pushing everything over to that one leg to the direction I want to travel and then back and forth. So it's a little different than with a seat board, which I kind of use more of my core with my butt and shifting the weight that way. And that seems to work pretty well. I just concentrate on that thigh support, pushing down on there to initiate the turn. So I hope that all makes sense. The harness is very easy to get into and secure. There's a 2-buckle system, 1 on each side supporting the leg supports, as well as a chest strap.
I would say this is a little bit more than on a scale of 1 to 10.
Now I know that I've said that the seat board gives you much greater weight authority, and there's always a bit of a trade-off. You trade a little bit of weight shift authority in the Easiness 4 for a lot of comfort, a lot of ease of getting into the harness, and you do get very good support, and I must say it does seem to weight shift quite well. It's just not the best thing that I've ever weight shifted in. And of course, like with any equipment that you're going to buy, you have to kind of figure what are you mostly going to use it for. And this is primarily going to be for hike and fly from Little Black. I'm not going to be using it for obviously any great cross country, even though I haven't done any great cross country recently. I'm going to use it for nice simple little flights like today. I just want to get out, very easy, get the wing and into the harness as quickly as possible and just have fun. If I really want something for a longer distance travel, or I want to be super comfy, then I'm going to get into my pod harness. So when I first took off, it wasn't very busy. That never stays the case for very long tour, especially on a nice day like today. There are going to be 10, and there's more pilots showing up. So I thought I might do some touch and goes while I can, while it's still not too crowded. So right now I'm just scanning to make sure the landing area is clear, and then I'm okay to land. You'll see me reach for where my whistle should be, but I forgot to put it on this harness. For safety's sake, one is supposed to whistle when you get into the window, especially if there are any radio-controlled aircraft about. This is not always enforced. This is obviously for safety and to let other pilots know what you're doing, as well as the RC group. So that in this case, I'll just be yelling landing and letting people know what's happening. Looks to be a little bit from the north. Not much, but a bit. Okay. Look to where we want to turn. Right there. Okay, just gonna let it. See if I can let it fly. All right, just keep going here. Now this harness, not quite as easy to get out of the harness fully. You just kind of have to get used to it. I'm still in a little bit of a sitting position when I land, but my legs are out there. I also have it, the adjustment for the back. It is on the full back position, so I'm going to try it more in the middle now, and I can adjust this in flight, which is what I'll do. Let him go ahead and take off. So this is really nice right now. There's very few people in the launch and landing area, so I'm able to come in, no traffic, no tandems out yet. Now I was going to try to adjust that back angle of the harness, but I could not do it in flight. I don't typically change it in flight, so I usually like it in the back position is where I'll keep it. Now you can, if you have it in the up position, very easily put it all the way back. It's trying to get it from all the way back to a more upright position that was difficult for me. I was trying to see how much I could adjust it in flight. So not the easiest thing in my experience, but I'll try again next time I'm flying the harness. You'll also see here my speed bar lines are a little too loose, and they can be caught up with my hands and the brake line. So I'm going to have to adjust that and just make them so they're a little more taut. But obviously don't want them to the point where they're actually engaging the speed bar whatsoever. So I've been up for about 35-40 minutes. I've done a couple of touch and goes, or I should say stop and goes. And it is getting a little bit more crowded now.
Looks like two people on approach.
The good news is that if I need to circle and lose a little altitude, maybe abort a landing approach, go back along the ridge and come back again, I can do this because it's a great day to fly. It's not like there's a big crowd on the ridge and you might lose your lift and then go down to the beach. So just being patient, it's kind of fun just hanging out up here anyway.
Landing.
So are there any negatives with Easiness 4 harness? One, it does not have a seat board, so weight ship is a little compromised, but not bad. It does not have a permanent protection for your back. It doesn't have a compressible protection, just an air scoop, which only really helps you when you're in flight, and nothing for your sides. It also is not great for kiting. I would definitely use my boundless for that. It's a little uncomfortable for that, but for a hike and fly, lightweight solution, it's a great harness and I would definitely recommend it. So next up, I'm going to fly the Lightness 3 pod harness with my Iota DLS. I love flying this combination. Okay, the next harness and wing I'm going to fly is going to be the Advance Lightness 3 pod, and I have a whole videos on that, and I've been flying this quite a bit along with my Iota DLS. Again, that's the lighter weight version. It actually has replaced the XI. I had that. It's a very lightweight wing. It's been replaced by the DLS line now. You can see me here fiddling a little bit with a line that attached to my cockpit holder. Not critical, but I didn't do a complete check, so shame on me, but easy to secure in flight. So the day is getting even better, and my plan now is to go as far north and south as I can. As I mentioned in earlier videos, there's a limit to how far I can go north, which is the direction I'm going right now. And that's solely based on the Torrey Pines Reserve area. They don't want us flying any further north than a spot that you'll see coming up. Southwise, it's a little bit more of a limitation by lack of any ridge soaring. Today is one of those days where it just seems like there's lift all over the place. A great wind just coming right up the ridge, some thermals here and there. A wonderful day to fly. So I'm almost at the most northern point that I can fly, and if I go any further, that's when Torrey Pines Glider Port starts to get phone calls, and it just creates a lot of hassle. So we just kind of stick to this plan. You'll see right below an area called Bathtub Rock, and that pretty much is the line in which I can fly around that and no further. So I turned around at Bathtub Rock, flew past the glider port, and now I'm making my way south, and in the distance there you can start to see the Script Pier. So as I fly by all these incredibly expensive and large homes, the only change I ever really see is more solar panels on the roofs. I never see anybody gathered on the lawns, in the pools, parties. They always seem vacant. It's just an observation, and even on the weekends where I think, well, there'll be more activity, there never really is. I don't have an answer for that. When I first started training at Torrey, I wanted to do hang gliding, but they really were getting away from that and doing paragliding. There used to be kind of a 50-50 mix. Now I rarely see hang gliders unless the wind is really pretty stiff, and probably stiffer than what I want to fly in. And the good news is there's a lot more days to fly paragliders to hang gliders. I've never flown hang gliders. I wish I had at one time, but not something I'm going to take up at this time. When I turned south, I was following this particular pilot the whole way. My goal was to try to get as high as he was. I could never quite do that, but I just followed him because he could really seem to find the lift. So I just kind of tagged on and see if I could learn how to be a little better pilot. So I'm right over the Scripps Pier, and this is just my personal goal. If I try to go any further south, there's nothing that says I can't, other than there's no ridge, there's no lift, unless you can find some thermals. In Part 103, which is what we operate under the FAA, you really can't fly over any congested area, and no matter what altitude you are, though if you're thousands of feet up, probably nobody's going to complain. if I wanted to catch some thermals, I've got to stay really away from those congested areas, which is the housing in this case. So now I'm heading back to Torrey Pines, making my way north again. And I've had a great day flying two very different harnesses. The Easiness 4 is a great lightweight hike and fly harness, or in this case just having fun around Torrey Pines. I've been using it with the Epsilon DLS, but it really is best if you have a true lightweight wing. And the reason I purchased the Easiness 4 is that I'm looking to get a lightweight wing very soon, but more on that later. And then I have the Lightness 3 pod harness, very comfortable. It's just a real soothing way to fly for me. I just lean back. Has pretty good weight shift authority in the pod harness, even though there is no seat board. Also really enjoying the Iota DLS, a little better performance, a little better turning ability, a little better glide. It's just a higher B wing, but it's a very safe wing in my hands. I have no problems launching, landing, kiting. It's just an all-around wonderful wing to fly. What a great day of flying. First with the Easiness 4 harness and Epsilon DLS, and then the Lightness 3 pod harness with the Iota DLS. On days where it's raining, like it is today as I'm editing this, I really can look back, see what a great flights I've had, and then get really geared up for the next great day. Thanks, fly safe, and we'll see you in the next one.